after a time I went, you know what? I don't know what my time is, but I need to enjoy my life, so I'm going to eat a cookie if I want it.
She is the Australian angel, a gentle icon who made the world cry with every song and innocent look. But make no mistake, even angels can hate. And when betrayed again and again, even the purest heart turns into a smoldering fire, taking all the gentleness with it to ashes. Olivia Newton-John, the immortal Sandy of Greece, was once considered the purest soul in Hollywood. But at the age of 73, she left behind a notebook that no one dared to open, listing the 5 men she hated most in her life, with reasons that would make readers pale. False love, anonymous calls in the middle of the night threatening her honor, stolen hotel tapes, slaps from a man who once knelt down to propose. And worse, betrayal from a co-star whom the world believed to be her soulmate. You think you know Olivia Newton-John? No. You only know the sweet part that the media wants you to see. The truth is dark and cruel, and it will forever change the way you look at your own childhood. Because the last name on that list might be your idol. So who is the traitor? Who is the face that once lay beside your grandmother, but turned love into a fatal wound? Watch until the end to find out the whole truth, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to continue discovering the terrifying secrets behind the seemingly perfect Hollywood lights. The truth is never easy to hear. But once you know it, there's no turning back. She was once considered the purest icon of an entire generation. A Sandy so innocent that it seemed untouchable, so gentle that people forgot that the world of showbiz had no place for innocence. Olivia Newton-John entered Hollywood as an angel, but that angelic appearance made her easy prey among a pack of predators with degrees, power, and moral masks. Born on September 26, 1948 in Cambridge, raised in Australia, Olivia dreamed of being a music teacher. But after just one hit, If Not For You, she was pulled into the whirlwind of lights, of fame, and of cold, backstage hugs. The explosion of Grease with John Travolta in 1978 made her the national first love of the whole of America. But at that moment, when the world thought Olivia was living the dream, her nightmare was already beginning to creep in. In 1974, on a European tour, she had an affair with British singer Rod Stewart. One night in a Vienna hotel, Olivia had no idea she was being set up. A hidden camera video of her intimate moments was bought by a music manager, and used to force Olivia to sign a contract to transfer her voice. For nearly 10 years, she did not receive a penny from her songs. The press was silent. Her lawyers were silent. And Olivia, she went crazy. A close source said, she smashed the microphone in the studio, scratching her hands until they were raw because she could not scream that humiliation out loud to anyone. Her fame was still rising. But her self-esteem was gradually rotting. After Grease, a famous director came to her private hotel with a real wedding ring. No love. No confession. He proposed, in bed, as she woke up in her pajamas. Olivia said no. And in return, he slapped her. You don't take your chances, he hissed in her ear. 3 months later, Olivia was dropped from 3 major projects. Not for incompetence. Just for saying no in a world that said no, but the cruelest blow came not from men, but from a woman. A Grammy-winning country singer, Olivia's closest friend, had lived with her on a Tennessee farm for nearly a year. They were considered sisters. But in the warm kitchen of that farmhouse, 2 souls were secretly in love, gently, fearfully, and quietly. Until the record label found out. They threatened to release intimate photos of the 2 unless Olivia withdrew from all media coverage. The woman was terrified, and turned away. On television, she denied everything, saying Olivia was too naive, and a little out of control emotionally. A third word, like a knife, stabbed into the last of Olivia's beliefs. She wrote in her diary in 2001, I have been loved, hated, used, betrayed, and finally, forgotten, by people I once called close. Not every smile she ever smiled was a real smile. Not every love song she sang was a happy one. And not every man who held her hand on the red carpet truly wanted to walk backstage with her. So who was the first lover who betrayed her for a video? Who was the man who promised to marry her but slapped her for shaking his head? Who was the husband who made Olivia lose her dream of becoming a mother? And who, the man so powerful that with one phone call, buried her voice, her reputation, and the life in her heart? The list, only 5 names. But each name was a mark, a knife, a break in her heart. And now, when the lights are down, when the music stops, Olivia leaves them to us. Not to make things right, but so that no one else has to repeat the story. His name used to make Olivia's heart race, now it only makes her hands shake. In 1972, Olivia fell in love with Rod Stewart when he was a true romantic. His voice was husky, his hair was wild, his eyes were deadly, and his scarf defied all conventions. They spent cold, rainy London nights together, where she thought she had found a man who loved, truly. But Olivia didn't know that, as she gave her heart, Rod was secretly keeping the most intimate tapes, like a spare knife hidden in his pocket. A few years later, when Olivia began to be sought after in America, some sensitive photos were leaked internally. The press didn't dare publish them, but the consequences were like a storm. A multi-million-dollar advertising contract was cancelled overnight. The record label threatened to sue her for tarnishing the image of the artist's brand. Worse, when casting Grease, the executives hesitated because Olivia didn't look pure enough to play a schoolgirl. A decision that almost ruined her cinematic destiny. She never spoke ill of Rod. But in her diary, she left a line, "I don't regret loving him. I regret believing he was different from other men." You think that's the climax? No. The next name is the man who shared her bed, and then slapped her in the face when she said no. They called it a fairy tale love story between Australia's top star and a handsome young dancer. But inside the doors of the luxury mansion in 1984, there was a chilling marriage story. Olivia Newton-John married Matt Lattanzi at the height of her fame. But just a few years later, she became a skinny, sleep-deprived wife who was always afraid that she was no longer young enough to keep the man who had sworn her life to her. Matt began to openly compare her to the 20-year-old models he dated. Worse, he once looked straight at his daughter Chloe and said, "Your mother used to be beautiful, but now she looks like a housewife in a bad comedy." That sentence was like a knife cutting into the last of Olivia's self-esteem. And then when she discovered she had breast cancer, when she was supposed to be loved and protected, Matt brought his mistress to live in the house, with the reason to help her overcome stress. In a suicide note that was hidden for years, Olivia wrote, "I would rather die alone than pretend to be happy with that man for one more day." That wasn't love. That was torture, in the form of marriage. You think this is the ultimate betrayal? Wrong. The next man didn't just break her heart, he strangled her career, her reputation, and her voice, with a single phone call. Continue reading, David Geffen, the powerful man who turned Olivia mute in his own industry. Not all wreckers use their fists. Some just need a signature, or a phone call. David Geffen, the music mogul who championed Nirvana, Cher, and Aerosmith, was the man who turned Olivia Newton-John from a legendary singer into an overnight sensation. In 1991, Olivia staked her future on a new contract with Geffen's label. The upcoming album was her passion project, a comeback after a long battle with illness and bankruptcy. But then she received an invitation to a private party hosted by Geffen, rumored to be a gathering of tycoons, and young female stars eager for a chance at a new life. Olivia declined. And 3 days later, the entire album release plan was suspended for strategic reasons. David said, "If she doesn't play by the rules, we'll let America forget her forever," an insider revealed. And he kept his word. The album, even though it was recorded, was never officially released in the United States. A voice that had once melted the world was silenced for saying no, but that wasn't the worst of it. The next man on the list not only took away Olivia's fame, but also trampled on her feelings in the sweetest, most cruel way, John Travolta. The co-star who made the world believe in love, but who made Olivia never dare to love again. On screen, they were the perfect couple. Sandy and Danny, symbols of youth, rebellion, and undying love. But behind the camera, Olivia Newton-John loved John Travolta not just with her eyes, but with all the fragile trust a once broken woman had left. Travolta promised her something different. No publicity. No scandal. Just love, steady and private. Olivia believed, because amid the flashing lights and fake hugs, John's gaze was the only thing that made her feel truly wanted. But when the rumors began, John denied them all. Worse, in a 1980 interview with a tabloid, he said, "Olivia is very fragile, she always falls in love first. And she's always vulnerable." It sounded innocent. But to Olivia, it was a verdict. From then on, directors no longer saw her as a versatile artist, but as a broken model. The roles of broken-hearted, depressed, betrayed women kept appearing in her career like a curse. Olivia never publicly criticized John. But in a letter to a close friend, she wrote, "I don't hate him because he doesn't love me. I hate him because he chooses to climb on my shoulders, to be hailed as a hero." And you think Travolta is the final pain? No. The last name on the list is a stab straight to Olivia's honor, right on national television. The one who silenced her for 2 years with just a cruel, sarcastic remark. Not everyone uses their hands to kill. Some just use their mouths. In 2003, Olivia Newton-John was invited to be a guest judge on a popular TV show, and the person sitting next to her was none other than Simon Cowell. On air, he smiled. But behind the scenes, Simon's cruelty was evident. He mocked Olivia to her face, in front of the crew. "The wax figure at Madame Tussauds can sing better than her. She should retire, or else the audience will pity her." Another time, when Olivia talked about healing music, Simon threw his coffee cup on the table and sneered, "You should be a statue. Good music doesn't need compassion, it needs new, young, and up-to-date people." But the final blow came in 2005. When Olivia released a cancer charity song, a song that contained real pain after years of battling the disease, Simon went on national television and coldly declared, "We should let the old symbols sleep. Don't bring them up to buy sympathy." That left Olivia silent for almost 2 years. No music, no stage, no response. Just one entry in her diary, "I hate those who kill with their mouths. Because they don't leave blood, they leave living graves." That was the last name. But if you think this is just a list of hate, you haven't seen what Olivia left behind. Five men. 5 stabs to the same heart. A spy cam and a betrayer. A husband who brought his mistress home while his wife was battling cancer. A powerful tycoon who made her voice disappear from America. A co-star who stabbed her in the back with words. And a TV judge who killed her spirit with a few quips. It's not a list. It's an indictment of the good souls buried under the mask of politeness. Olivia Newton-John never spoke publicly. She chose to remain silent, like so many other women in showbiz, forced to laugh while bleeding. But at 73, with the spotlight no longer shining on her face, she left behind the final pages of her life as a warning, "I don't need anyone to love me anymore. I just need to be heard, just as I was." She wasn't asking for justice. She just wanted the truth not to be buried as she had been. Which of the 5 men do you think is the most evil? Leave a comment below, and share the video if you believe no one should be silenced for speaking the truth.